What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1,
and we're back at it to answer your call.
in another episode of
For the Greater
War. It's probably really echoey, and that is because we're in a different position in the warp. But guess what? There's still a window.
Hey, no more chips for you guys to complain about.
Oh, like chips in the window. I thought like dipping chips.
Oh, that too.
So this is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, simply comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And that is what Mechanicus TV did. He asks, who would win in a fight? The Omnissiah / the Void Dragon or Magnus the Red? That question is very, very, very thought-provoking because, number one, the Omnissiah is not the Void Dragon. At least I don't think.
I think so.
I don't think so. But we won't fight about that. And really, you shouldn't be fighting the Omnissiah versus Magnus the Red. You should be doing Omnissiah versus the Emperor because they're both
deities, so to speak. Or at least they get praised such as deities would.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just going to go with you, though, and say that, yes, the Omnissiah is the Void Dragon. So who would win in a fight, the Void Dragon or the Emperor? We all know the answer.
The Emperor.
Because he done killed him once, he gonna kill him again.
Yeah, and also, if the Omnissiah is the Void Dragon being a star god of Catan are weak against psychic powers. And the Emperor is essentially the most powerful psyker ever.
Basically. Now, what if the Omnissiah was not the Catan, the Void Dragon, and he was actually just another entity created by humanity because of their worship? Then
that'd be a closer fight, because I feel like it'd be machinery and like science against the Emperor's like psychic might, which that would be a closer fight and that'd be pretty cool. But I still got to give it to the Big E.
Me too, just because the amount of people actually worshipping the God Emperor as opposed to the Omnissiah. The Mechanicus is smaller than the Imperial citizens at large, and if we're going with that whole theory that the Omnissiah was created based on the belief, well, the same thing's going to happen to the God Emperor. He is seen as a god, and he will be stronger and better than ever.
That's right.
Good question, though.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
Next question.
Snack Baby. Do you think that GW will bring back more Primarchs in the future as surprises? For example, bringing back Magnus, since his death has so much mystery and unknowns to it. It would be awesome to bring him back in a new model form. Also, is it possible that the Eldar... Well, we'll answer that one first. So, yes, I feel like GW will be bringing out more Primarchs. Magnus got his head cut off. I don't know how much of a mystery or secretiveness is there around that.
No, not really.
There's not much.
Yeah, he got his head chopped off.
I mean, there was clones of him, and at the end of the day, his actual head or his skull is now in Abaddon's possession.
I believe so. Yeah.
But something that has to do with the Primarchs coming back. If you guys saw the Warhammer community, I think it was like a podcast or like a live stream going on a couple of days ago. They mentioned something about Sanguinius being in stasis and that he wasn't 100% dead, that he was just in like really bad shape. I don't know how I feel about that.
Because they're changing the lore.
Yeah, it's like Sanguinius should have died by fighting Horus, not was just like severely wounded and now he's in stasis. Like, I think them saying this, I don't know if it was a slip up, I don't know if it was intentional, but with this being brought up into the lore, now that kind of like cheapens his death. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and we're going to talk more about that in another video. But
yeah.
That also leads to another thing that we'll talk about later.
Right.
Next question. Or do you have more? Or
yeah, he's got a two-parter. Is it possible that the Eldar and the Imperium may eventually become allies in hopes of stopping the greater evil? With the resurrection of Guilliman, it seems possible. Yeah, I mean, there was a ceasefire going on. I mean, obviously, when you see Xenos or Eldar or Xenos at all, the Imperium's first instinct is to kill him. Yeah, so, I mean, if it happens, it's going to be an uneasy alliance, but the Imperium needs something going their way, because right now they're kind of fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, and if they're within 6 inches of one of them, they're going to have to roll a die in on a result of, 1 or 6, then what happens?
I think
they can't move.
They can't move or something like that. Yeah.
But they got rid of that.
That was 7th edition.
The next question comes from John Redcorn. Who is the most sexiest female character in Warhammer 40k? Other than Ferris Menace.
Other than Fulgrim?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Other than Sanguinius.
Other than Gershwan?
Other than Godschool Magoric Thraka. Because who doesn't love an asexual creature?
Right.
You did say female, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, so sexiness is also in the eyes of the beholder. I would say... I can't think of any.
Yeah, I'm trying to play
right now.
The only female... Okay, I have to go with Saint Celestine.
Okay, yeah. You like that armor and them wings?
Sanguinius.
Oh.
That's as close as I can get to him. No, but yeah, I'll go with that.
I'll go with any of the Sisters of Battle, I guess.
Any of them?
Any of them. Because they're all trained the same, so they have them muscular legs. Next question.
This one's by Trelaine Ultima. I butchered that, but his question kind of relates to the topic of the video that we're answering these questions from. He asks, are the Brain Boys the Tau Ethereals? Did they decide that the Orks would never be a reliable force to control, and then they found that the Tau decided to control them instead? So the Ethereals seem to work in a very similar way to the Ork Brain Boys did in the past. So he's saying that the Ork Ethereals, the way they kind of used, whether it be pheromones or mind control, to kind of lead the Tau to their path that they're on now, maybe that's what the Brain Boys were to the Orks.
And no, that's not the case. I don't know who that is. So no, that's not the case. Brain Boys are, they were the old ones. It's already been told in the timeline. So you got your time all mixed up too. In order for the Brain Boys to be the Ethereals, basically, it just wouldn't make sense timeline-wise, because the Orks have existed for so long. What were the Brain Boys doing from the point where they left, which was 60 million years ago, to the point now with the Tau?
Yeah.
So yeah, time-wise, no, it doesn't make sense. Good connection though of like the Brain Boys connecting with, or Brain Boys controlling the Orks like the Ethereals control the Tau, because for a while I did believe that too, that the Brain Boys were actually just another Ork species that was controlling them, with their pheromones or whatever. But no, it was the old ones.
Yeah, because when you think about it, Tau is a very relative new race, and Orks have been around since like Jesus.
Since Jesus, yeah.
Way before Jesus.
Next question comes from Uriel30. Are there any other Space Marines like the Salamanders who treat humanity justly and not look down on them? Yes, there is many.
Space Wolves is a big one. They actually got into kind of like a mini war against the Inquisition because of it.
Yep. Man, there's just like there's a lot to I can't really think of any successor chapters, but there's a lot of successor chapters that are Lamenters, right? The Lamenters are one. Yeah, there's a lot. Is your thumbnail a thumbnail of the Sears Tower? I think it is. Interesting. But yeah. Next question.
This one's by Dragon Punch 903. If Farsight's sword takes the life of its victims and gives it to his own, wouldn't he essentially be immortal by killing a single Ork, since Orks can never die of natural causes?
So we've talked about this before, and what I think it is that sword takes the life of the expected life of that individual. So an Ork, even though yes, he can technically live forever, his expected life is very short.
Right, because they're always fighting and shit.
Yeah, and then you dive into the realm of like Tzeentch and how Tzeentch has a web and understands the future, because the future is already been determined, and Orc's life has already been determined in the grand scheme of things. And I think that's how that Chaos Blade works. What do you think?
Yeah, that makes sense. Because it's like, this Ork could live forever, but he's actually going to get crushed by like a Titan's foot in like 10 years.
Exactly,
So,
yeah. Next question. I have one from Tabris Razel. Is it possible for a Genestealer cult Broodlord to rebel against its original Hive Fleet? as it does have a military and its own conscience, as it has to make decisions based on the situations, revealing its intelligence. This might be a stupid question, but just had to ask. Good question. So, in order to understand Tyranids, you have to understand just a hive mind. The hive mind only works with, or the hive mind is so powerful that it trumps everything else, and that's what would happen. So no, the answer is no, because the hive mind trumps
the instinct,
lord. Yeah,
the behavior there.
Yeah. Next question.
Merrick Gruska. Hello, OMS. Thanks for a quick answer and keep up the great work. Not sure if somebody asked already, but where do Space Marines and other races store their ammo for their projectile weapons? Do they have something like a magic pouch? Or do they warp manifest this ammo? What actually happens? Maybe there's some dude running around with a cart of ammunition, like the guy in the Matrix movie. Or maybe there's just some magazine pouches around them and they're just not shown.
Well, it's the pouch thing, really.
Yeah, they do have like backpacks and stuff with ammo. Oftentimes they have like Imperial Guard members or sometimes just servitors, Planetary Defense Force people with like caches of like ammunition and stuff running throughout the battlefield.
Yeah, and they actually do model them, because if you buy the Devastator Squad, the Devastator Squad comes with a lot of little pouches and whatnot with ammo, even rockets.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, I don't know if it's the Orks, but like there's like an ammo pouch that they have, like bandoliers, whatever they're called.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Brian Baltazar. Will the Primaris Blood Angels still have the Black Rage and Red Thirst? This is something that has worried me, since one of the things that makes the Blood Angels so interesting to me is those very flaws. If they don't have those flaws, then they're just Ultramarines with red armor. P.S. If they don't have the flaw, what will become of the Flesh Terrors? So yes, the new Codex was announced. What was it, last week?
New Codex was announced last week. Pre-orders went live on Saturday. And the GW community has been putting out little blurbs of information. And like you said, it is confirmed. They will be having the Red Thirst, Black Rage, etc. I don't think they have the Black Rage because I don't think there's any Death Company Primaris yet.
Not yet, yeah.
But they all do have the Red Thirst.
Yep. And what's going to happen to the Flesh Terrors? Their what is it called? Their people were stocked full of more people. What is that called? They re-garrisoned? No. They got new recruits, basically.
Yeah.
Last question. What do you have?
Eric Wijnads. I don't think that's your last name. If dreadnoughts are coffins for Space Marines that got injured in battle, how did the Primaris Marines have their Redemptors at the start of the Indomitable Crusade if they've never seen combat before? So that doesn't make sense. Love your channel, by the way. I'm hooked to the lore.
Awesome.
So yeah, that was always a question for me. They got Primaris Ancients. They got Primaris Captains. They got Primaris everything. So it's like, how do you have Ancients when Primaris literally are like brand spanking new?
You have to remember, though, that the lore tells the whole story of the Indominus Crusade. And the Indominus Crusade didn't happen overnight. It's a long process. So when you see a Redemptor Dreadnought, it's a Primaris Marine who was entombed during the Indominus Crusade. So it's not like he came out of the thing already as a Dreadnought. He came out as a Primaris Marine, got hurt, but they were like, you know what, we've been working on these new sarcophagus. And then they put him into the Redemptor things. So the Indominus Crusade is actually over.
Didn't the whole Death Guard thing end it?
Yeah. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And those were the questions for today. Thank you for sending those questions our way. If you have more questions, comment down below.
We do this 3 times a week, so if we didn't get to your question today, answer it, and we'll maybe get to it tomorrow, the day after that. Don't forget, he is
Gersh1.
I am the Sound Alchemist, and we are out of here.